Last month, Chennai was hit by cyclone Ochki. It was flooded. There was loss of life. It was not the first time, however. Chennai is regularly hit by the northeast monsoons, and it's flooded with unfailing regularity. The city is crippled and people die. But yet no lessons are learned. Now, joining me to discuss this is my colleague Mohan Wajihulla from Bengaluru, who's covered this thing of Chennai flooding with unfailing regularity. Waji, what's to explain why the northeast monsoon continues to wreak havoc in Chennai every year without fail and no lessons are learned?
Well, from what I've learned from the weather bloggers and the weather enthusiasts and the environmentalists who we've been speaking to regularly, that for heavy rains and the cyclone that Chennai sees, you need three factors. One is the water levels should be above 27 degrees, and as of now, the water levels at the Bay of Bengal is at 29 degrees. Then, second thing, because of these rising water levels, what happens is the air has a lot of moisture. And for that moisture to turn into rain and cyclone, you need wind. And that is when the northeast winds come into play. And
Right.
These northeast winds are becoming stronger and stronger by the day. And that is becoming one of the major reasons for a lot of cyclones and heavy rains to accumulate near the coastal regions of Chennai.
Right.
Now, since 2015, we've been seeing cyclones in Chennai regularly every year. They may not have a landfall in Chennai, but they pass through Chennai, creating the havoc that we see year after year. And this year, we saw 31 people who died
Right.
because of the flooding and rain that happened there.
Right. But Vaji, what's the reason for the flooding? I mean, all of these factors you mentioned, they've been on for the last couple of years. The cyclones hitting with unfailing regularity, heavy rainfall, but yet the city doesn't seem to learn any lessons, and you have the same problems of flooding. Is there any other reason beyond this? Is it rampant urbanization, or the fact that you have buildings coming up where lakes and rivers once stood?
Yes, this is a man-made disaster, and it is no different from a city like Bangalore. What has happened here in Chennai is, in the last 30 years, we've been depleting the water bodies. At one point of time, Chennai and the surrounding district had close to 6,000 lakes. Now we have close to 3,000 lakes. Apart from that, all the water bodies that we had around Chennai. Now Chennai has 3 rivers and 1 canal, the Buckingham Canal. Now, despite having such a strong water system, we are still not able to deplete our waters, to remove our waters from that. That is because we had 19 major lakes by the beginning of 2000, and which were 1,143 hectares. Now they've been reduced to 600 hectares. So clearly that gives you the idea of encroachment that is taking place heavily in Chennai. During the British time, there was this rule that you should not have your construction from the river or from the lake. There should be a distance of 70 meters. Now we are encroaching the lake. We have come to that situation. So that clearly gives you the idea where there is no place for the rainwater to go. And that is why Chennai is flooding and flooding heavily. And year after year, the encroachment is increasing, and because of which we are seeing Chennai flood. Now, this is something for the authorities to clean their water drain. The other major reason is that we have 570 water drains in Chennai, storm water drains. But what happened this time around is, despite banning plastic in 2019, there was a rampant use of plastic bags. And we saw all these plastic getting accumulated in the stormwater drains, and that is why even after rain subsiding in 2-3 days, we saw the stagnation of water that continued for 3-4 days.
Vaji, I'm going to interrupt you because Mr. Vetri Selvan, environmentalist, has joined us. Mr. Selvan, welcome to the News9 Plus show. We are talking about Chennai's flooding. It's been happening with unfailing regularity over the last decade or so. Every time there's a cyclone or there's heavy rainfall, the city is flooded, it gets disrupted. Well, what's the reason, and why are we not learning any lessons from this, despite it happening, over the last 10 years or so now?
So, two things are the reasons behind this, as we are calculating. One thing is that the climate change, the impact of climate change. We are seeing the extreme climatic events in recent time, past from 2015 onwards. The frequency of extreme climatic events is getting very shorter. So we are seeing a disaster in a short period of time. So that's one thing. And the second thing is that the way we have planned our urban cities, the way we have planned our metropolitan cities, right now. So the city is planned in a way to handle the capacity of to meet out the disaster in a 30 years old disaster. Our entire infrastructure is not ready to handle the extreme climatic events. The unplanned urbanization, the unplanned expansion of the city, that's the major problem we are facing. The Chennai master plan, no, for example, we have in the Chennai master plan, the first master plan came into enforce in the year 1976. The second master plan came into the year 2008. The vision of the master plan is that they expected that about 3,000 square kilometers area will be the only built-up area in 50 years. That is around 2026. But in 37 years, that is in the year about 2016, we have a built-up area around 4,800 square kilometers. So that's an unplanned one. We have an estimation, but the reality is a different one.
Mr. Selvan, I want to interrupt you at this moment. My colleague Nivriti has a question on basically on the fact that with extreme weather events picking up.
As you said, Mr. Selvan, that extreme weather events are happening and it is going to rise in the coming years as well. And in Delhi also, in these rains, we experienced a lot of flooding because of the encroachments alongside Yamuna floodplains and all. And previously, if you talk about when Delhi was planned, and Delhi was earlier days during the time of Rajas, Maharajas, you may say, they did not build on the land which fell in the floodplains. Now we are building in the floodplains. And as far as the master plan of Delhi is concerned, we are working right now. Also, we are working on a master plan which was there in 1970s or so. And since
in short,
then, they have not.
Mr. Selvan, you know, we are not, you're flouting master plans. We're building on floodplains, and you have this terrible specter of, you know, global warming and climate change and all of that. What's the way forward for cities like Chennai and indeed Delhi?
You must have an ecocentric approach. You have the science of climate change. You have the details and studies of the rising temperature. You have the studies about the extreme climatic events, and you have the vulnerability assessment studies. You have the impact of climate change in Indian region assessment report. Everything you have, but that is not carried out in the urban planning. So that's a major problem. For example, in Chennai, we are carrying out for Greater Chennai expansion. Within Chennai, then taking out the nearby area surrounding about 100-kilometer radius around Chennai, we are planning to expand the urban areas. Without taking into consideration of the water bodies, and we are going to destroy water bodies for the expansion of the second airport at Parandur. And we are going to destroy many number of farming lands for the expansion of the Sipcar.
News9 Plus. Download now.